the market will give you more information than you think. Well, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. I hope you're having yourself a wonderful day. Today we're going to talk about Metazoo. I know if you're here for Flesh and Blood, don't just go away. There's a lot to talk about that I think applies to everyone. There's some things going on in the market that I think can give some credence and some answers to those who are bringing up the question, does anybody play Metazoo? There's some things going on in the market that I think are really suggestive that a lot of those people are wrong. I want to talk about those a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about my experience with Metazoo as we gear up for Nightfall. The heart of this video is that you don't gain anything by doubting, and there's a lot of negativity, and I hate negativity. I think it's dumb. I get that it's good for the algorithm. I get that it's good for a product. I get that it's good for, you know, this, that, and the other thing. But what I hate about it is that I feel like there's a lot of people who are just negative and they're missing the point. And this is not to try to get you to buy or to invest in Metazoo. This is simply to get you to kind of take a step back and take a look at the game if you're doubting, as I did. And if you do like Metazoo, I want to share some things with you that I think are really exciting for the future of the game. And yeah, so let's get started. First off, on Saturday, I do have a patron sale. I just want to let the patrons know I don't have enough. I don't really care to tell you all. It's gonna sell out instantly. I'm doing 1/3 of my wave, so we'll do a wave, and then I got allocation from one distributor, and then when I get allocation from another, we'll do another wave. That way it kind of spreads it out, and you can only order from one wave. So Saturday night at 9 p.m. patrons, just make sure you're aware of that. It's gonna be MSRP for one of each product. Might be thrown in two of one of the products, something like that. We'll figure it out. Just depends on what I gotta do the math. Anyway, when Metazoo dropped on Kickstarter, I can remember sitting on in my kid's room and in my daughter's room. I was putting her to sleep. I had just read her a book, and that was time, as I usually did, to flip through Kickstarter. And I had a Kickstarter addiction. My wife used to tell me, don't open the app, because every time you open the app, you end up backing something. Well, that day, I opened the app, I was floating through, and Metazoo popped up. And I remember being like, oh cool, another TCG. I was playing Magic the Gathering at the time. I had never heard of Flesh and Blood. I was playing Magic the Gathering, and I'm flipping through, and I click. I probably had heard of Flesh and Blood. I didn't do the Rudy sale of Flesh and Blood, but anyway, I'm flipping through, and I back it, and I was like, okay, this looks pretty cool. I think it was like $80 or something like that. I don't remember exact price. I was like, okay, I'll do it. I put my kid to bed. I come back, and my wife's like, no, Louis, we can't afford that. We're not doing that. Usually she doesn't say anything to me, but like in that instance, we had just had a kid, whatever. So, you know, she told me to cancel. And so then I actually looked into it, and I was like, no TCG can be successful. This will be a waste of money. I won't be able to find anybody to play with. My friends won't want to play. I did all the things that, you know, you hear somebody say whenever they are thinking about doing a new TCG. We saw that with Flesh and Blood. We've seen it now with Metazoo. We see it with, I mean, it's just all over the place. You see that. We're like, well, I have anybody to play the game with. Is it worth investing? And my answer was no. So I ended up canceling it because I really believed, quote unquote, nothing will succeed other than Magic the Gathering and Pokemon and, you know, I guess Yu-Gi-Oh! And so I really believed that. And then the whole Flesh and Blood stuff happened, and then everything went on. I started realizing that like there was a lot of room in the space, and it really was, for me, the interview with Mike on my channel that turned my chair around and flipped me around to understand that it's not as much about Metazoo and the card game as it is about the passion, the excitement, and the vision of the person behind it, or the team behind it. And for me, like, and I've said this on my videos, like that's what got me really excited. I think that that Metazoo is a great product. I think that the cryptids are a great thing, and that's kind of what got me interested in it on Kickstarter. But if you have a great thing and not a great team behind it that's passionate and excited and has vision, then I don't see it moving forward. And after that interview with Mike, I remember calling George and being like, look man, like, I'm in because of that interview and because of his passion, excitement, and vision. You know, we're gonna transition this in a second to looking at the market, and there's some things that point out in the market that it's even more successful than the current kind of climate of attitude. I think is that it's just investors. I want to point out some things, but before we get there, I think another avenue of talking about this is that game design in 2021 looks a lot different than game design in 1994. You know, when Magic the Gathering came out, I keep wanting to show this off. This is a 4th edition Magic the Gathering box that I actually traded some stuff for. Super excited about it. Anyway, when Magic the Gathering came out, it was this kind of revolutionary new thing. We had never really seen like the world of it, and you'd never really seen the mechanics of it. And it was just different and new and exciting. And then for the last 30 years, I don't know, whatever it is, the last 25, 30 years, we have seen like many different games adapt it and improve it and become better at it. And we've seen board games and all these things, this revolutionary world of board games. And we're getting to the point now where things don't have to be revolutionary in order to be successful. They can use mechanics that have been in use. They can float and do things. All they have to do is have good marketing, good campaigns, good vision, good ability to keep excitement up, and then do something different. And I think the fourth wall effects are the something different that is exciting. Mike did an interview recently with Alpha Investment. I think it was all filmed a long time ago, but posted the other day. He was talking about the competitive scene of having, you know, different things, and you have to build your deck, you know, kind of live. You don't know what's going to be in the building until you show up, and then it's more about deck building than it is about you know, the constructed meta and things like that. There's really cool things that are going on, but they're not like the most revolutionary thing, and it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to change the entire dynamic of the TCG world in terms of the playability. It simply has to be done with passion, excitement, and vision. And that last one, vision, is so important. So I want to address this idea of no one's playing the game, because the market, in my mind, one of the best things about having a secondary market for this kind of thing, for collectible trading card games, is the fact that you can see what is going on. You can see what the meta deck is if you see the card prices of those decks, like Flesh and Blood, right? Like, you could see that Chain was a meta deck simply, I mean, obviously we all knew it based on gameplay, but also you could look on the market, see Carrion Husk was going up in price. You could see, you know, all the Chain cards were going up in price. And I think you can gain a lot of insight from a market based on what the consumer is doing and how they are thinking and how they are feeling. So I went ahead and did the math for you. Here are some things, and we're going to compare all the current prices on the market to MSRP. And then I want to talk about that a little bit. So we're going to start with the theme decks. MSRP was $10. Currently they're selling on eBay for $50 to $65. That's a 5x increase. Blister packs, where MSRP was $5, they're currently selling on eBay for $45. That's 9x. Release decks, they were selling, their MSRP was $20, they were selling for $85. That's a 4x. Spellbooks, MSRP was $40, they're selling for $140. That's a 3x. And boxes were MSRP for $100. Last week they were selling for $400. This week they're selling for $530, which, real quick, like 150 boxes were purchased in the last 48 hours, the last 2 days. Like 150 boxes purchased on the market in the last 2 days. Anyway, they're up to $530, which is a 5x. So here's my point. If this was just a game where people were just investing in the boxes, keeping the boxes sealed, running box breaks, all that people cared about was collecting, you would not see only a 5x increase in the box price. This is, you know, only a 5x increase in the box price, and the decks would not be at 5x. Honestly, the decks have been at 5x longer than the boxes have been at 5x. That's not a market where people don't care about actually trying out and playing the game. That's not a market where people are only buying boxes and keeping them sealed. Now, I will say that there are people who are probably buying the theme decks and keeping a set of the theme decks sealed. But when you see people, I think what's happening here, and this is my honest opinion, because this is a lot of me, what I think is happening here is people want to get involved in the game, but they don't want to open a $500 box, which makes a lot of sense to me. If you bought a box for $100 and now it's worth $500, there's an attitude of like, do I really want to open that? Like, it's worth so much money. I could sell it much easier as a sealed box. So I think a lot of people don't, so they are buying the theme decks because they're like, oh, I can open up a theme deck, I can sit and play with it. There's a pack in it, so it's fun to open a pack. I can sit and learn how to play the game with this theme deck, and I can enjoy it, and then I can make my decision moving on from there about what to do with the next set, and I can save my kind of box opening and deck building. I can learn how to play the game prior to the second edition release, which is at, I think at the end of the year, where then I can get as many boxes as I want, I can open them, and then I can start making decks. And I honestly believe that that is the attitude of the average person who is interested in Metazoo. Now, don't get me wrong, I know there are people who are investing in Metazoo heavily, there are people who are buying up a lot of product, I know that that person exists too, but the market suggests that people are also interested in trying the game out and playing it. I think that's really interesting and really good for the Metazoo market. Now, I think that one of the reasons that this is because Mike is everywhere. He's on all these YouTube channels. He's doing a really good job of marketing the game. And when he does so, he's not just marketing it to the collector investor, which he is doing. He's not just doing it. He's also talking about, like I said, the play and the organized play and the stuff that could be going on in the future. And I think that that's bringing in a lot of different interests, a lot of player interests, who like more casual player, honestly, interest there, and a lot of collector interest has already been there. The investor interest, I think, has been increasingly coming in. So anyway, I think that the Metazoo stuff, it's in a really, it's a weirdly healthy spot. I don't typically say, like, if the theme decks were only a 2x, and the booster boxes were 5x, I wouldn't feel like it was super healthy. But because of the way that the market is right now, I feel like it is healthy, and he just needs to get more product out there, which he's doing. We have another set come out. He doubled the print run. Honestly, if you're still watching this 11 minutes in, I didn't think there was any way that Nightfall was going to come out on time. Like when he made the post, he was like, hey, Nightfall October. I was like, man, like, I think he had also made a post earlier that it was like he had posted a card, it was still in design. I was like, how are they going to get this printed in time? And I didn't doubt, but like I was like, are they going to be able to do it? I was like, maybe it's going to get delayed till November or something like that. Yet here we are, they've got the boxes shipping. One of the distributors already is doing allocation. They've got the boxes shipping. They showed photos of the freight trucks. Stores are able to get their allocations, do their pre-orders, get people the product. It's a great thing. Like it's moving in a really, really healthy direction. And again, you don't gain anything by just doubting it. So if you are not Team Metazoo, here's my encouragement to you. Don't buy any product. If you're not Team Metazoo, don't buy any product. But just take a step back and look at what's going on, because there is excitement, there is vision, there's passion thrown into this game that I think is going to make it very successful. I think there's a lot of things that other game companies can learn from as they are coming up and growing, and the marketing and the amount of hype that Mike is able to build is healthy for a game like that. The amount that he is interacting with his community, really healthy for a game right now that's in its infancy. So I think if you are not Team Metazoo, there's still some things that you can look at and take a step back and learn about the TCG world. If you are Team Metazoo, congratulations, because this seems like this next set's going to be really cool. I love the theme. I think I'm amazed that it's going to come out on time. I'm super excited. I hope you can find some other places to get at MSRP. If not, you've seen the way that this has increased. What we saw, real quick, as we're talking about, what we saw is a rapid increase up to the $650 price. And then it kind of dropped down to about $400. So don't buy at the highest price point kind of post-release. Let the price, I think you will see kind of an influx downwards, a leveling off. We saw like a 3-week leveling off at like $400 a box. And now we're starting to see some growth upwards. So hope you guys have a great day. Remember to be kind to the people around you, and we'll talk to you again later.